Hey guys, welcome to the Big Talk with Austin. Thank you very much for Sean for joining me. It's been a while. It's like been like 20 episodes or so, and so we just finished filming the episode. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for very much for coming on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Like this is a very long episode. If you guys haven't already saw, we have like Disney, Star Wars topics, a bunch of stuff like that. We ramble on. We talk and like kind of went off script. And there's even some stuff that we accidentally forgot to talk about, like Bethesda's like finally doing some exclusive stuff. So I'll talk about that in the next episode. But we got a lot of we did a lot of stuff. We talked about a lot. We even had some issues, like where there's some points like where Sean would cut out during the episode, but and then come back, and there's some point at the episode where the filming would stop and next it would jump cut. So just be prepared for that. But nothing really too bad. It doesn't happen that much. We got Resident Evil topics, Netflix, a bunch of stuff. But also, yeah, go check out Sean's content. He has a YouTube channel and he has a podcast. So and like he got a bunch of stuff. I'll put his Instagram and Twitter down below. So definitely go check that out. He just got out of filming stuff. He got done filming a show. So that's like one of the topics that we talk about at the end of the episode. So yeah, he's gonna be starting to upload once again after like 2 months or so. So yeah, definitely go check out his content. Let's get right into the episode. Benedict Cumberbatch is completely rejecting playing Thrawn in Star Wars, which is kind of interesting because I think he could pull off Thrawn. And like in the article, it's just saying he just doesn't want to put on a bunch of makeup, and so which
Y-
is kind of
Yeah, I
sad.
mean, he's an amazing actor, and I absolutely love everything he's in. But you know what? I have a funny feeling like he probably was watching what Paul Bettany goes through to
Oh
play
yeah.
Vision,
Mm-hmm.
and was like, nah, that's not happening to me. Because that's like, you gotta remember, that's hours in
Oh
the
yeah.
makeup chair before they even get on
They start
set.
like they start like 4 a.m., 2 a.m., something like that, because it
Yeah.
depends on the detail that they want to put in, and like with like there's like some overlay with like for example Gamora. I believe she's like really there's so much detail with her
So much
character,
detail.
and so she's probably like 12 a.m. in the morning up, and it also has to dry as well. So
Yeah. I mean, look, if they could digitally alter the skin,
it would look
uh,
weird.
but I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, like it sucks that when Timothy Zahn created the Thrawn character, that they made him blue with the red eyes,
Hmm.
because basically he's like a life-size, human form Smurf. I mean,
Yeah.
like, who wants to play that character? If you got a Batman costume or Superman costume or Darth Vader costume, those are cool characters.
Yeah.
Or even Chewbacca. I mean, that dude, that takes a certain kind of person. And
Yeah, and then he's probably gonna have to. Yeah, you would probably have to put in like red eye line, like red lenses.
contacts or
Yeah,
something. Yeah, red lenses. And anybody who works in the film industry, if you've put on those contact lenses,
it
whether
will
it
mess up with
be,
your eyes
they're
completely.
thick. They're thick. They're
Hmm.
not in order to cover up the entire eye. It's not like a pupil. It like goes in the entire eyeball. I've got friends that work in special effects, and I've seen these things in my hand, and they're no joke. So if you're
Oh,
an actor, I'm telling you, that's exactly what happened. He is on he's doing Avengers Endgame. He sees Paul Bettany across the room and he goes, I'm not doing that.
yeah.
I am not doing that.
Hmm.
And I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I
But
mean, he could pull off a Thon character for sure. I feel like he
yeah,
would be a
oh,
good
dude,
Thon.
he would be perfect
Yeah,
if they could just figure out how to get around the blue makeup.
maybe. Well, there's other ways to do it as well. I'm trying to think of it.
They could motion capture him like when he did the dragon for The Hobbit
I
and put the
guess.
dots on his face and then just make it a digital creature like who was the one that was in the sea? That's how bad those Star Wars movies are. I can't even
Yeah.
remember who the villain was. Who was the villain that got sliced in half by Kylo
Oh,
Ren?
Snoke.
Snoke.
Yeah.
See, not memorable at all. Um, although, you know, the actor who played him, in motion capture,
Oh, he was also a
Andy
big
Serkis. Yeah,
CGI
but that's what I'm
character.
saying. Like like if you want Benjamin Cumberbatch to do that, you make him CGI
Mhm.
like Snoke, and then
Yeah.
he might be able to do it.
I don't know. I mean, that's just gonna throw even more stuff into the budget because he's a very expensive actor, and next throwing like CGI stuff on his face is probably gonna cost even more. But again, it's Disney, so I,
Disney, talk about Disney. Dude,
yeah.
did you just see the announcement that they made? What
Oh, with
a 100 million subscribers?
yeah. Which that's like our next topic, which Disney Plus made more than Netflix did in the past like years. I don't know what Netflix is at, but they in just 1 or 2 years they already hit 100 million subscribers, which is insane.
Yeah, and
With nothing even being on it, it's just like no original stuff. It's just like, well, they're
it's
starting to come out with the new
they're
stuff,
starting to
but
come out. I mean, it's been scaled down for a while. The interesting thing is if you take 100 million subscribers and you just multiply them times like a lowball figure, like $75 a year, because some of those introductory, like I think when we subscribed to Disney Plus, it was like $79 for the first year.
yeah,
But then you have to look at the that if you go by just that number, let's just round it up to $100. Uh or let's just say we'll round it down to $75. At 100 million, that's $7.5 billion. Like, no wonder they're making all this original content because they've got all this money coming in. But what you do have to consider is that some of the numbers from other countries, poor countries like India and stuff like that, they're like going through, you can get Disney Plus through Roku and
Shark,
stuff like that.
I
So
think.
the money is not,
Yeah,
it's not 7.5 billion, but
yeah,
it's probably around, 4 to 5 billion dollars. And when you got that kind of money, you got to spend it. You
yeah.
got to make original content.
And which kind of begs the question: are they gonna like Because the only thing they can do is TV shows. Because are they gonna make like original movies just for Disney Plus? Because I mean, they do have. I think they do have one. Is it like a Christmas movie that you talked about? That
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're gonna do one-offs, but I think their strategy going forward is
is the shows.
serialized television shows.
Yeah.
If it's like somebody was telling me the other day, like WandaVision, if you took out the intros and the credits for every episode
Mm-hmm.
and you put it all together, it's really like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So it was like as long as Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to look at it that way, although they broke it up into 25 minutes and then 27 minutes and so on and so on. It's literally a mini series. It's like 3 hours long. So, you know, uh, I don't mind the serialized stories because I feel like they can flesh things out a little bit more. When you look at what happened with the Star Wars sequel trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
there was not enough information. They kind of jumped around, from the Force Awakens to the Last Jedi. There was just so many holes that they tried to fill with the Rise of Skywalker. It was like patchwork. We gotta, all right, she's training, she's this. But if they were able to flesh that out on Disney Plus, I think the fans would have been happier with a more fleshed out thing. So I I'm excited. I can't get enough. I'm looking forward to Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Mm-hmm.
that's coming out.
Next week.
Oh dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like
Snyder Cut also comes out next week, so it's gonna be a battle for both of them.
oh wow. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
So
Okay.
we're gonna have to figure out who's gonna be talking about which more, and
I
so
honestly I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be the win.
oh yeah,
I because we haven't really seen anything since Endgame.
yeah,
Am I right?
yeah.
Because we were
Besides
supposed to
Wanda,
get,
yeah,
besides WandaVision, we were supposed to get Black Widow, and then that got pushed. And Black Widow was supposed to be really the big deal
it was supposed to be
after
Black Widow, Falcon, the Winter Soldier, then I believe Loki,
Loki.
and like WandaVision was like supposed to be like the very last thing. It was like a separate thing. It wasn't supposed
Yeah.
to do that very well, but
And it
it
all got
did.
just shuffled around. All the
Yeah.
schedules got shuffled around.
Mhm. So, this kind of puts Disney in a tough spot. It's like, are we, because there's going to be certain movies that give the ending to other movies away. So it's like because Falcon and the Winter Soldier might give Black Widow away, even though it's a prequel. But some things can show up from Black Widow in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So
So do you think the Russian version of Captain America will show up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
he could, because they're like exploring other places and around the world. Like we got somewhere like I don't know the actual name in the place that they're going to, but it looks like some place in Tokyo or something like that.
Right.
So they can be going to a bunch of places. So he could show up and it could give some stuff away, but hopefully they did enough editing, because they did have the time. Maybe they can shuffle it around, because this is only supposed to be 6 episodes, and so if they
Wait, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is only 6?
yeah, and they're supposed to be like at least an hour long from what I've heard,
Yeah, I heard the first episode is 47 minutes,
which is really good.
which is really good because I
Yeah.
tell you what, that was one complaint I had with The Mandalorian.
Yep.
Was just there was no consistency. One episode would be 27 minutes, the next one would be 36, the next one would be 45, and I'm just like, what are you doing to me? You're killing me. Like that's, if there's one complaint I have about the Disney Plus stuff, is they need a consistent runtime on all their shows.
Yeah, and especially if they're gonna keep these like short seasons, they need to make them longer with no filler, because that's another like big plan with Mandalorian. There's like 1 or 2 episodes in each season that is like complete filler, like the Ice Planet in season 2. That's complete filler. Didn't need that.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
There's another one in there, I believe. It's the Boba Fett episode, when they, Mando and Boba Fett meet up. It's sort of filler, but at the same time, it isn't. But
I see
it's
what you're saying. There's swaths of the episodes that seem like, did we really need that? But at the same time, like the Ice Planet thing, the spider creatures were like something that Ralph McQuarrie had really created in some of his artwork, and so they pay homage to a lot of the old school stuff. Same with the I thought the one episode where they had to team up with the Sand People
I
to
like that.
slay the dragon. That was a great episode.
People
And
said that was filler, but what makes that not filler is that it has at least where you're at the beginning, and it has a complete arc. And the second one's like, okay, they crash. Oh, now okay, they're off on their way. It's like, okay, nothing changed. Nothing happened to the eggs or the creature or like it's like nothing changed. But in that episode, some of those people died. A lot of people died.
Yeah.
And like Mando got something out of it, and even the village got something out of it. So it's like there's stuff happened, and that's why
that was a totally self-contained story, which I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved all the actors that were in it. W. Earl Brown is an acquaintance of mine. We worked on a couple of projects together. He played the Weequay in that. I'm actually trying to get him on my show.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be really cool, because he's got a great story he put up on Facebook about how he landed the part of the Weequay, and I just want to get him to tell it on my show. So I'm going to try to get him to do that. But yeah, that episode was, I think, the one thing I know we'll go off. I don't want to go off on a tangent on Mandalorian, but I know the one thing that I loved about that episode is that it humanized, for the first time in the entire Star Wars franchise, the Sand People. The Tusken Raiders. They were always called by Anakin savages,
certain point of view.
Right. Yeah. He butchered them, and even Obi-Wan Kenobi, wasn't too keen on the Sand People, but they actually have like a code of honor.
Yep.
Which I thought was wild. They were like, well, yeah, we won't raid your village anymore as long as you help us kill this dragon that's messing us up. And
that's the reason why they raid villagers, because they lose people because of that dragon.
Yeah, and like, so for me, I thought that was brilliant that they actually humanized these creatures that we've all been told all these years are just these filthy animals that just rape and pillage.
I would like a Disney Plus series for them. That would be actually kind of interesting to see.
I'm thinking Kenobi.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, they could have some involvement.
I
Maybe
mean,
changes his ways for them. I don't know.
they explain that the dragon, every time it would come up out of the ground and it would scream, it made the same noise that Obi-Wan Kenobi when he comes walking for the first time
the
to see
very
Luke, and
the
he's like
original.
"Roar," in the original, and
Yeah.
the sand people all scurry away, they get scared. He
Hmm.
makes the noise of the dragon. Is at least that's the explanation from Dave Filoni. And you know, if there is some way that Obi-Wan Kenobi fights the Sand People, or the Tusken Raiders, whatever you want to call them. I grew up calling them the Sand People, but that's
Hmm.
because I grew up watching the originals, you know. Um, but yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think if there's an area where you can explore them on Tatooine, it's going to be in the Kenobi series. But who knows?
Hmm.
They might, that whole thing might be a Clone Wars
And
thing. If they're
well,
bringing in Anakin and they're doing all this
yeah,
stuff,
that's what I was about to say.
it
They're
could be totally off planet.
Yeah, Darth Vader's supposed to have an appearance.
I
So
hope
it,
so.
it's
Oh, I hope so.
it was announced he's supposed to have an appearance. It's supposed to be like a rematch, and with it and having the fight on Tatooine wouldn't make any sense because then like, oh well, I know you're hiding here, so it would have to be off planet,
Right.
and so
Although in Star Wars lore, the reason Anakin never goes back to Tatooine because that was the place where his mother died, and he
yeah.
refuses to ever go back to his original place of origin,
Hmm.
if you will. So,
So hopefully that sets up like a Darth Vader series because maybe like
dude, if we get a Darth Vader
Hayden
series, I
Christian,
can, yeah, dude, I would die a happy guy if
yeah.
we got a Darth Vader series.
Because I feel like Hayden Christian needs the work, and he would be a perfect person just to be put in the suit as like fan service.
I don't know whether he really needs the work as much as,
He's been doing like short films or like indie films like that, but
yeah, but it's kind of like he didn't have to do anything after the Star Wars trilogy. It's kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio made, at his cut from Titanic,
hmm.
was $75 million. That's how much money. That's why the next follow-up movie he did, he waited 4 years, I think, to do a movie, and he did The Beach.
Okay.
Was his first movie, because in essence, if he really wanted to never do another movie for the rest of his life, I'm glad that he has continued to work and do things. But he made more money off that film that he never has to. And so, we don't really know how much money Hayden Christensen's made, but I would assume with tie-ins and toys and all this kind of
Oh
stuff,
yeah,
dude, he's got
he's probably
residual checks
rich. Yeah.
coming in every month, and he don't have to give a crap about anything
Yeah.
if he doesn't want
He
to.
probably gets paid for Disney Plus stuff as well.
Oh
Uh,
my God, yeah. Are you kidding me? You know how many times since Disney Plus has launched that I've, just to have on the background, I'll throw on Revenge of the Sith,
oh yeah.
you know?
Hmm.
I just throw it on. I don't even
Like,
have to,
do the
watch it.
actors get paid for like this small portion of the subscription, like maybe like a penny or so?
Oh, no, they get paid probably pretty decent. I'm looking to see if I have any residual checks from me, because my checks that I get from HBO from I did a couple episodes of Eastbound and Down in 2008 on HBO, the Danny McBride series. And I still get checks for that. And that was 2008. So that was what is that, 12 years ago? And I'll still get checks for $3, just out of nowhere. I call it beer money. I'll get like
Okay.
$3 per episode.
Yeah.
So I'll get like, like $9 in the mail from the Screen Actors Guild. But, you know, that wasn't a big role. I mean, we're
Hmm.
talking like Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader
Yeah.
in 2 films and all the toy tie-ins. So his money is different than like me, who just had a day playing part on an HBO series.
Yeah.
But I've got friends that have been in the film industry, or in the film industry for a while, and I had a talk with one actress who's was on a hit television show, and the show went away decades ago, and she still, makes about 35,000 a year in residuals because the show is syndicated all around the world.
Wow.
So if that's a regular television show and you got to check for 35 grand coming at the end of the year, that's not bad at all.
No, that isn't.
Yeah.
Um, Well, moving on to our next Star Wars topic, the fan turns Colin Trevorrow's leaked Star Wars Episode 9 script into a comic, which I'm very happy about because I feel like out of all the people that worked during that sequel trilogy was him because he was the original director for Force Awakens, and next he got fired, and next he went off and worked for Jurassic World, which came out the same year, and so and next, I don't know if I think he got credited for it because I believe there's some scenes that are in the film that are his, and so and
What,
so
for Rise of Skywalker
for
or
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens? But see, I thought he got fired because he was supposed to Rise of Skywalker.
He no he well I think he gave a script and to Disney because I think Disney asked him because they didn't
Right.
know
Yeah,
who was going to direct it.
his script and all. I think he was set up to do Rise of Skywalker when it wasn't called Rise of Skywalker. And
Mm,
what happened was, from what I can tell, uh, he wanted Luke Skywalker in his movie,
yeah,
and they wanted to kill him in Ryan Johnson's film, and it didn't really jive with what he was trying to do.
yeah,
So when they split because of creative differences, it was because his movie was not, I mean, basically after what happened with The Last Jedi, they were freaking out anyway and
yeah.
didn't want to stray too far. And from what they did the with the last one, having to fix and do patchwork and try to satisfy all the fans, which
Well, that's what they
in
did
essence
anyway.
it
That's
shot.
what they did anyway. With
Right, but in essence it
it's
shot themselves in the foot. They should have just went with Colin Trevorrow's
it was it was a
film.
perfect script. I mean, if it continues, not a lot of people like The Last Jedi. I actually can watch it and enjoy it. I only would skip the casino scenes. That's
That was so painful.
but like the only, but overall, I think The Last Jedi is a good film. I mean, like it. I like the idea of Luke Skywalker being a grumpy little one because that's how Yoda was, and like that's what would happen if you're, stranded on an island in the middle of nowhere on a random planet. You would
Yeah,
go
I can
insane,
understand that.
and he would see his difference with with the Jedi. He like failed. That would definitely hurt him a lot, and so it kind of makes sense. And so I just like the story. I didn't like, the only thing I don't like is the casino stuff, and I kind of did like that they killed off Snoke. It's like, oh, he wasn't supposed to be the big villain, but that means Kylo Ren is. But then they brought Emperor Palpatine back for fan services. Like, really? I mean, like that shocked me in my trailer reaction, but at the same time, when I saw it, I was like, what was the
Yeah, I
point?
mean, it was, it, but see, that's what happens when you don't have a plan.
Yeah,
If you don't have a
exactly.
plan, you were going to shoot yourself in the foot. But I will say, like, some of the artwork that came out from Colin Trevorrow's um, film, where he had Ray with a double-edged, like,
Yeah. Hmm.
lightsaber, like Darth Maul, and she was wearing the black
And I believe it
Jedi
was supposed to be
outfit.
yellow as well, like the.
Dude, that would have been, I would have loved to have, because she was already trained with a staff.
Yeah,
Like,
that
she
would make
showed that
sense.
skill. She
I,
had that skill.
I think her lightsaber was supposed to be her staff as well. She was supposed to make her lightsaber part of her staff.
Dude,
Hmm.
that would have been such a, like, we all would have went, oh, I get it, because in the Force Awakens she used her staff a lot to beat up people, and then
Hmm.
she used her staff a lot in the Last Jedi. It's a natural progression for her lightsaber to be a Darth Maul double-edged lightsaber. That's a slam dunk. Like,
Yeah.
the fans would have bought that. The fans would have loved that, but
Hmm.
they just went
A
with
generic.
what they did.
They went,
Yeah.
and so what also makes his script so good is she has a character arc in his script, like, and she like loses her eye. I think she goes blind at like in the final battle, and so she's like fighting Kylo Ren. I mean, I'll put the link to the leak script and to the comic version in the description if you guys want to go check that out, because
Yeah, because
it's
I
an
can't
awesome
wait to see this
story.
comic book. I want
Well,
to see this comic book.
it's online. It's a fan
Yeah.
comic book, and so
How's the artwork? Is it good?
it's pretty good for like a fan thing, and
Dude,
so
it's great.
if he, if he's, I think he probably seen this, and if he does, he needs to come up with his own comic book then, because that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, if Lucasfilm would let them, I mean, if they let them do kind of like what they call Star Wars Legends, is all the other stuff that they decided they didn't want to use.
Hmm.
If they let him have his alternate reality, might be able to do it.
Yeah. Which brings us our like next topic. Kathleen Kennedy is once again still in charge of Lucasfilm, which I don't like because apparently that just makes sense to Disney for them to do.
Right.
She screwed up she screwed up the sequel, and the only reason why that The Mandalorian is doing good because she has no involvement at all. Zero. She's probably like a producer, but
Well,
she doesn't get in like involved like she did with the sequels and all that.
look, you've seen videos on my channel. I'm kind of a supporter of Kathleen Kennedy, and
Mm-hmm.
that's because I work in the film industry. I work with producers. I talk with them all the time, and I understand the positions that she has probably been in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think she's great at what she does as long as she lets the other people do the storylines. Just let them do the stories. Don't meddle too much in the creative
Well, she
aspect.
doesn't get into much involved. She didn't give the direct. The problem with I have with her is that she let three directors, well, technically two directors, do their own thing and not have a roadmap. If this next trilogy, because there's supposed to be, I believe, two different trilogies. There's Ryan Johnson's trilogy and there's a Old Republic trilogy.
I don't think that Ryan Johnson trilogy is going to happen.
I think it's going to happen.
I don't think so.
It's people will go see it,
I don't
but
think it's going to I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think
it,
it'll ever see the light of day.
it's gonna be the Snyder cut thing where where's the Ryan trilogy type of deal.
I don't think
Um,
it's going to happen though, because all right, first of all, just from an economic standpoint, let me just break this down. So, The Force Awakens did $2 billion.
mhm,
Okay, The Last Jedi did $1.3 billion.
mhm.
Okay, that was $750 million loss, right? If it should not have lost money the next go round. Sometimes sequels lose money, right?
Yeah,
But just to give you an idea, 750 million, 789 million is how much Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull made at the box office. So you lost the amount of money of another franchise film like that when you've got the biggest franchise in movie history and your first one out of the gate did $2 billion. Just from an economic standpoint, the backlash was too much. The loss of money, that 750 million that was left on the table, that hurt because Disney had invested $4 billion to buy the franchise rights
yeah,
and to buy the property and to buy Lucasfilm. So they needed to make that 4 billion back as quick as they can.
hmm
And when everything backlashed with that, you kidding me? Dude, they are not giving Ryan Johnson anything. He can talk all he wants about, I'm going to make a Star Wars film. We can come back to this at some other later date if I'm
yeah.
wrong. And I'll
Okay,
eat crow. I'll tell you, I'll be like, I'm wrong. I was
all right.
wrong. But but
I'll have you on for
there's
that
no way.
episode. I'll if that happens, I'll have you on for that episode.
Yeah, definitely,
Okay,
definitely. And I'll tell you I'm wrong.
and well, would you watch it if it was a Disney Plus original only?
If they, all right, look, Ryan Johnson will be back in the mix
He will definitely sooner or later.
if he starts popping up directing some of the Star Wars TV shows. See, because you got to
Like
remember,
you gotta have to,
he
yeah,
directed several episodes of Breaking Bad,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so he can do television if he wants to. And really, these are like making feature films anyway, like on a big scale.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how you had like Peyton Reed, did the season finale. Who he directed Ant-Man, and he did the season finale for The Mandalorian with Luke Skywalker's appearance. And then you've had all these other directors come in. Bryce Dallas Howard. You've got all these directors coming in. At any point during this entire process, they could have brought in Ryan Johnson, and they didn't. So that, to me, that's the tell. If Ryan Johnson gets one episode of any Star Wars property show that's coming up, maybe the Andor series, because you heard George Lucas is writing 2 episodes of the Andor series that's coming out.
I'm trying
He's
to
back in
think.
the mix. Yeah, George
Yeah.
Lucas is writing it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So my thing is, if you see Ryan Johnson pop up in a director's capacity, or because they, I don't think it's going to happen.
You think? Well, I
That would
mean,
be the only tell. That would be the only tell.
I think they didn't want to bring him back too soon because season two was trying to fix. Well, no, it's not trying to fix, but it's trying to explain the sequels. There was a lot of sequel hinting for and all that, so they probably didn't want to bring him back. It's like, hey, if you're gonna bring him back for this second season, he's probably gonna still force that stuff like his Last Jedi stuff right into those episodes. So
Yeah, man. I just hope like they
it's
never go back to Canto Bite. That's all I.
well, no,
That's
yeah, definitely don't go back to the casino stuff. But like the interest, I did like that where like anyone can be a Jedi. I did like that part because like the kid with the
like
broom.
the Kim with the broom
Yeah.
boy at the
hmm
end. Yeah,
I did like
and
that.
I think his trilogy was the end of uh the Last Jedi.
hmm
I think his trilogy was the stable kids, the
hmm
barn boy, and the other three kids that were all in there with the animals.
hmm
I think that's his sequel trilogy, but it'll be in the future, and they'll
When
all
they're
be
older. Yeah.
older.
hmm
And that's what I think he was pitching to them is I want to take these characters because I think the broom boy was also in, was it Looper?
I'm
What
trying
was
to. I don't know.
the kid that was the broom boy? He
Yeah,
had cast in another movie
he was. Yeah.
and he brought him in to be broom boy. So he has an attachment to like this actor. And I think he's like, I have a trilogy I'm going to do, and you guys, I'm setting it up right here. You'll have the ring, the Dakota ring that has the rebellion stuff on it. You've got, and you guys will be and you'll have your own story. I think that's what Ryan Johnson was doing.
hmm
That's his. I think that's his Star Wars trilogy. Is Broom Boy.
Yeah. I mean, what make like what makes the Last Jedi good in my part is that it takes Star Wars in a different direction. It explores a little bit more. That's why I really likes the Last Jedi,
Yeah,
and
but
so
but a slow car chase in space,
uh, well, no, I
that was
mean
boring.
it
That was
it
completely boring.
it was boring, but it kept that tension. It's like, oh, but again, like they never explain like why they ran out of fuel. It's not like the first time that they were in the situation where they ran out of fuel. Maybe it makes sense that their hyperdrives weren't working, but they kind of did that with like, oh, if they hyper jump, they will just track them again, and so
I mean, I get some of the aspects to it, but I feel like where the ball was dropped was like John Boyega.
mhm,
Like he was set up in the first film, with the lightsaber, and he was in all the artwork with the lightsaber, and he had his scenes with the lightsaber, and he did pretty good because he had been trained as a stormtrooper in those riot control sticks. And it was just hinted that this guy, his arc was going to be he left the First Order, became a Jedi Knight by the end of the last one,
yeah, he was supposed to
and
be, yeah,
and he basically got thrown to a subpar character. And to me, I can't forgive that because like that's the thing.
well,
Like he was my favorite character
yeah,
in all
hmm
of, next to Kylo Ren was John Boyega. And so
yeah.
like I want to see more John Boyega. I didn't want to see him riding a horse.
No, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's like even J.J. Abrams kind of just kicked him to the side as well. It's like if you started the film out with Ray like training him, that would have been better, because like
Dude, what is your cat's name?
oh that's Sam right there.
That's Sam. That's awesome. Yeah,
um,
Sam got up and stretched while you were.
yeah,
Go ahead. So
um,
I totally screwed up your train of thought. Go ahead.
that's fine. But yeah, I think if instead of J.J. Abrams trying to fix what Johnson did, like going back to like the like the leaked script from Trevorrow, like that's a perfect sequel to The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Because
Yeah.
and so I think not Ryan Johnson, but J.J. Abrams was just too stuck in
No,
his like
look, I
ego.
no,
Trying,
I think he had orders, dude, like from Bob Iger at
I
Disney
I
to
guess,
I
yeah.
think it was, dude, fix this. Get the fans back, make everybody happy so we can move on and do these other projects so we don't lose the fan base. And
Hmm.
I think with that kind of,
They still lost the fan base. People. I think people
well,
hate the
not
Rise of Skywalker
totally.
because Rise of Skywalker is a lower rating on my scale, and I feel like a lot of people will agree with me because it's a half-paced film. Like there's a lot of stuff missing from the film. The
Yeah,
reasoning for the emperor to be back is pointless. He shouldn't be back. Like that just ruins Anakin's arc throughout the six films,
I agree.
and so there's
I
just
agree. And but I feel like over time, just like a lot of people Attack of the Clones and a lot of people like the Phantom Menace is still not my favorite Star Wars film. I like all the stuff with Darth Maul and the
mhm.
double-edged lightsaber, the three-way lightsaber battle, but some of that stuff I still like as much as because I'm an original trilogy guy. Like I
Mhm.
grew up, yeah, I was born in 1975. I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up, I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theater in 1981. Like, you know, uh, 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 and so it's like, you know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like I like that stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's a whole new generation of people. Like, do you ever go watch Star Wars Theory?
I watch him there and then. I feel like some of his content's almost the same, but I like watching him there and then.
Well, his first experience was, I think he was 6 years old when he saw The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So he didn't grow up with, I'm sure he got the other movies later on DVD and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
so there are people
My first
that have,
movie was Revenge of the Sith. I didn't watch the other two before that.
okay. So, well, that's my point is that there are people out there that the new sequel trilogy is the only exposure they've ever had to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that love these films. Just like, I mean, most of the people that that love The Last Jedi are people that have just been introduced to Star Wars and are not like people that watch the original trilogy
Yeah.
or even the prequel trilogy.
Hmm.
It's mostly new viewers that think The Last Jedi is the greatest movie on the planet.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, like the first thing I saw was Revenge of the Sith. Then I watched the originals, and I see where you're going with it. Like I can see where you're like, yeah, okay, whoever, someone at the age of 10 will like the sequels, because they grew up watching those, and so
Yeah.
and even their kids. But from like, a hardcore Star Wars fan and from like, movie standpoint, like movie making and all that, at least the prequels are bad. Bad. I don't. I The only one I like is Revenge of the Sith, but at least it has a beginning and an end. It had a roadmap. It knew what it was. It
It
knew
knew
what it was.
exactly right.
And
And
so,
that was George Lucas.
yeah.
He had the roadmap. He had it in his head
Mm,
and he knew exactly where he was going. And I get that that's was probably dropping the ball with Kathleen Kennedy is like they didn't have the roadmap completely structured out, but I get the idea when they went in that they wanted to give new hot directors because let's be honest, like uh JJ Abrams was hot,
mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think they, when the Cloverfield stuff started coming out, and then what was the movie he did that was kind of like Aliens, Goonies kind of thing? What was that?
Oh, I'm
Uh,
trying to think of it.
Super 8. When Super 8 came
Something like
out
that.
is kind
Yeah.
of like, you know, and you got to remember, like he had a relationship with a lot of these people going back a long time. Did you ever see the movie Regarding Henry starring Harrison Ford?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's an amazing film. If you ever get a chance to watch Regarding Henry, it was written by J.J. Abrams, and he actually had a cameo in the movie where he delivered groceries. He was a grocery boy, delivery boy for to Harrison Ford. They opened up he goes up an elevator and delivers groceries because he's a high powered attorney and he has his groceries delivered. And so for J.J. Abrams to go all the way back, I think that movie came out in the 90s. regarding Henry. So JJ has been around a long time,
Hmm.
and he was an up and coming kid and had his script got picked up, and Harrison Ford was the star. And so I think like they were thinking this was a safe bet. Plus, you got to remember, like, The Force Awakens wasn't a bad movie. I mean, yeah, some people could say, well, it was kind of like a redo of the original New Hope, but
Hmm.
so was The Phantom Menace. It was a
Yeah.
redo of A New Hope. Little boy found on a desert, has to be trained as a Jedi, uses a starfighter to blow up a droid control ship that saves everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker, farm boy, you know, goes off to become a Jedi, takes out the Death Star, so that to save the planet of Yavin, or the moon of Yavin.
Hmm.
It was the same. And the one thing George Lucas always said is all these stories are cyclical.
Hmm.
They all come back. So that's what JJ was trying to do, is give you something familiar, but this
Something
time
new. Yeah.
something new. But this time, instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi dying, being the sacrificial lamb, it was Han Solo died. He was the father figure to Rey, where Obi-Wan Kenobi was the father figure to Luke Skywalker after Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru died. So
Yeah.
again, these circles, they come back. These story beats
Hmm.
come back, and that, I think, was what JJ was trying to do. But what they were also trying to do is same thing with Gareth Edwards. When he just came off of doing Godzilla, it did $500 million at the box office, his version of Godzilla. And
Which one? The 2000.
not the
First.
one with Matthew Broderick, but I'm
Okay.
talking the Godzilla that which is in this monster verse now, with Godzilla vs.
Oh,
Kong coming
that.
out
Yeah, that's the
and
one I was trying to
Godzilla
figure
King of the
out.
Monsters. Yeah, Gareth Edwards did the first one, and that did $500 million. His last movie before that was like a handheld creature movie that never saw the creature,
Yeah.
and it made a lot of money. And they were like, this guy gets it. Let's give it to this fresh guy who just made $500 million for Godzilla, for Sony. I think it was Sony, and it was Toho. Toho licensed it to Sony. Let's give this guy a shot because he's a fan of Godzilla and he loves Star Wars. Let's give him a shot. And people could argue that Rogue One is the best Disney era Star Wars film
I
that they've
like
come out
Rogue
with.
One. Yeah. Well, it does have its issues, like it ran into a bunch of reshoots and all that. But
But see, this is where, like, Kathleen Kennedy, you gave it to Gareth
she
Edwards.
didn't have any involvement with Rogue One, I don't think.
She was the head of Lucasfilm.
Well, no,
This is
no. Did she like get her hands involved with it? I don't think.
I can pretty much guarantee she was all over that film too as well, because they brought in Tony Gilroy to do some reshoots and to nip and tuck it and to just do a little bit of rewrites.
Hmm.
Those are decisions that producers make to fix problems. And
Yeah.
remember, Josh Trank, who was another hot up and coming director, they had given him the Boba Fett movie, or they were going to give him the Boba Fett movie. But when there were lots of production problems behind the scenes with the Fantastic Four that flopped with Michael B. Jordan, there was a lot of shit that went on behind the scenes where he didn't even get to finish his movie. He had to sit in a chair and watch other people direct Fantastic Four, and he had no edit control, no nothing, because apparently there were massive problems. Well, Kathleen Kennedy was like, well, we're not going to give this guy the movie. So, but they had said he was the guy that was directing Boba Fett, but then they said no. Same thing with the two guys that did the Solo film, that did the Spider-Man movie,
Hmm.
the Spider-Verse. Like, when problems were happening, she stepped in and fired him and got Ron Howard in to finish. And a lot of people say Solo. I've seen Solo. I like Solo. Is it the greatest?
It's
It's
watchable.
watchable. Is
Yeah.
it the greatest Star Wars
No.
film? No, but it's watchable. And she came in and she fixed it. So again, like, I think there was an overall strategy at Disney to give these hot directors the green light to make these things. But then they realized, well, maybe they weren't experienced enough. Maybe they didn't understand how to do a movie of this scale. I mean, you take a guy who does a found footage movie about a creature,
Hmm.
Gareth Edwards, and you give him $180 million budget.
Yeah.
So you go from making a movie that cost you $200,000 to making a movie that's 185 million, and you're supposed to understand how all of that works. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it had to do with his style too. Gareth Edwards was shaky cam guy, and I think he was making a Star Wars film, Rogue One, that the space battles on the beach and stuff looked too much like Saving Private Ryan. Just
Yeah.
camera going in, zip zooms, and that's not Star Wars. And
I
they
think
had
some
to
of that was in the trailer and stuff.
right. And what they did was they were like, guys, we want all these movies to kind of look the same. And so they're all in the same universe. If
I
we go
kind
too far off the map,
yeah.
and they pulled back and they brought in Tony Gilroy and they made changes and they fixed a lot of what could have been a very weird looking Star Wars movie.
I like when directors like, I see what this is what I expect from, when it comes. I want Kathleen Kennedy to be there to hold the directors back. Like, okay, you're going a little bit too far. Let's reel it back. But I want the directors to have their own feel to the film and have their own style. And so,
Well, you look, Ryan Johnson wrote his script. If
and
that is not
and that's
your
where
involvement,
Kathleen Kennedy failed. She didn't get any involvement with the sequel. She just let the directors like go ahead, write your own
well, and then
movie.
you look at J.J. Abrams though, he wrote the script with Lawrence Kasdan, who
Mm.
wrote Empire Strikes Back and Raiders of the Lost Ark. They wrote it together,
But they were in
those
a
two.
room, and Lucas was there, saying,
I
"Okay,
mean,
that's good, but don't don't go over it. Don't go too far."
well, I don't think Lucas was around too much with that, but they probably felt it was in good hands when you had Lawrence Kasdan doing it,
Hmm.
right? And so, and Lawrence Kasdan and his son John wrote Solo. And one of the big problems they had with those two guys from the Spider-Verse and the Spider-Verse was that they would improv the script. Like they would record the lines and then they would tell the actors, all right, do what you want to do, just do something. And see when you
Let's see if it
have
works. Yeah.
right, but when you have someone like Lawrence Kasdan on set or in the mix and you're messing with his words, you're letting people go off script. There's more. Remember, this is called show business because it's a business.
Yeah.
If you are a WGA writer, a Writers Guild of America, if you are a WGA member and you write a script in your contract, they can't change stuff. Like they can't do that. That's not how you make the movie.
Hmm.
People's words, you have to have permission sometimes to have things tweaked.
Yeah.
You get a script that's locked and you're good. And so they were stepping on Lawrence Kasdan. And so when Lawrence Kasdan has a history of going back to George Lucas, to working on Empire Strikes Back, to being he writes Han Solo better than anybody out there.
Yeah.
So you got Lawrence Kasdan and these two guys, which are new hot directors that just came off doing, they had the Spider-Verse thing. They had the Lego movies that were really popular, but they're really good with animation, but they weren't good in the big mix of like a $200 million movie, which is what I think it was 185 million was the starting budget for Solo.
Hmm.
And I think with the reshoots and all, it was like 350 million when they had to fix it all. And that was only because when Ron Howard was brought in order for Ron Howard to have full director's credit, he had to shoot 75% or more of the film, according to the DGA, the Directors Guild of America. So anytime a director comes in and has to fix shit, that's why Tony Gilroy didn't get any credit on Rogue One, because Gareth Edwards shot over 75% of the film. So even though they brought in Tony Gilroy to basically fix the whole movie by shooting little bits and pieces and redoing some story stuff, he didn't get the credit for directing that film.
Hmm.
And some people might say he should have.
He, I mean, if it was
But
if it was more than that, yeah, maybe.
yeah,
But
it was like
uh,
till this day, people think the movie Poltergeist was directed by Steven Spielberg, but he executive produced it, but he basically directed that film.
yeah,
But he was obligated to do E.T. at the time, but he was like neck deep in Poltergeist. But people don't even know the guy's name who directed it.
I never seen the movie, so I don't wouldn't know either.
Oh, you should
Uh,
check it out. You'd like Poltergeist. But
is
go
it
ahead.
on? Is it on Hulu?
Dude, you can find. I think you can find that anywhere. You might be
Okay.
able to find that.
So Black Widow is
Yes,
coming out
yes.
May 7th. This movie was supposed to come out last year on my birthday. I'm mad.
Happy belated birthday.
It I was mad because like usually every Marvel movie would come out on my birthday, so it's like a tradition type of deal. It's like
Oh, dude,
okay,
that's great, man.
yeah,
That's great.
it's really cool. So this is coming out on May 7th, so close enough, I guess. Um, but I yeah, I
I
mean,
can't wait, man.
I'm looking forward to it. Not a lot of people are looking forward to it because of just because they know what happens with Black Widow and they know it's a prequel, so they're trying like most people are just like, is it going to bring anything new? What is this going to add to the MCU?
Dude,
So
look, there, if you ever followed the Black Widow comic books, which, there was a face swap.
yep, and I think that was in the trailer. Like
Okay.
there was one thing where what's the actress sister name? I don't.
Yeah, it's slipping my mind, but I know who you're talking about. But again, like they're saying that there's a fan theory out there based on the comic books. So it's kind of a supported theory that maybe, you know, you know, maybe Natasha that died in Endgame wasn't Natasha,
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious
wasn't Romanoff.
how would that work actually? Because you to get the Soul Stone, you need to sacrifice the person that you love. So Hawkeye thought that he would sacrifice Natasha, but wasn't really Natasha. But it needs to go both ways.
Does it? It just needed a sacrifice.
Did Gloria love Thanos or no? She hated
No,
Thanos, so I guess
no,
it
she
wouldn't.
she hated Thanos, but it was a sacrifice. He had to kill someone he loved.
Okay, so then
Okay.
yeah,
And then Hawkeye had to let go of someone he loved. And if that's all he saw was her face, and he thought Natasha Romanoff was, he thought that was Scarlett Johansson, like that, then they could bring her back.
I guess they can. That
I
would kind
mean,
of ruin the moment, and they would have to do really a lot of explaining for that. And
look, I'm
so,
I'm still can't wait for Doctor Strange and the madness of the multiverse or whatever it's
mhm,
called, because dude, they could have so many, you know, we already know that there's different, timelines.
mhm,
The multiverse of madness, is that what it's called, Doctor Strange?
yeah.
um Dude, they could easily bring back anyone, you
They just
know
hopefully they don't bring back because if they can bring back characters like Tony Stark, hopefully it's just like a cameo and he helps them out in a movie, but he goes back to his own time like universe, then that would be fine. Because I don't want them to fall into the slate what they do with like what they're doing with the Fast and the Furious now with them bringing back Han.
Yeah, no, I think if they're like the only person who can get us out of this jam would be Tony Stark. Well, how do we find Tony Stark? Well, we could go back into the past, with the Pym, you know, thing again, or we can go into a different multiverse, pull that Tony Stark in, have him fix our problems, and then send him back to his universe.
Yeah, like they do
Uh,
with the Flash with
right, the crossover stuff, the
yeah,
DC, where there's Earth 35 and Earth
with the
189, and
Wells. Yeah.
yeah, dude, like I'm game. I, I really think like Robert Downey Jr. would come back. Probably they'd have to pay him
Oh
$100 million, because what
yeah,
the last movie they paid him 55 million. The last movie,
I think so.
he
Somewhere
would
around
have to
there.
make so much money to come back.
He's still
But
making a bunch of money with the merchandise in the
oh, dude,
previous movies. So
he's still raking it in.
yeah.
Uh, they hate that too. Disney must hate that.
Oh
But I would think if we started seeing the new movies, Eternals, all the new slate, if they started suffering and didn't build the universe like the first 22 films did, all the
yeah.
way up to Endgame, where they broke box office records and had $2 billion at the box office. If we don't see that after the pandemic's over, and like once everyone's back into the cinemas, if we don't see that, that is where you're going to see them pull Robert Downey Jr. back in, because
I think it's
that would
gonna
be the
lead down.
biggest.
Yeah.
You really think it's going to dwindle down?
Because like the sequel, like because I already kind of see that like for like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they didn't do as well as the like the other films.
I think the Ant-Man and the Wasp stuff would be perfect on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah,
Make it
definitely.
straight for Disney Plus. There's no need to make those into
I
big
like
feature films.
if they. I mean, I like the ant. I like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's great, isn't
Yeah,
he?
but it's just like I don't like I don't like the side characters. If they can just bring in a really good writer, then that's fine. But they're just falling into they're just, I think this is where Marvel is going to start going downhill. And so because they did everything, like they broke, like you said, they broke the box office record, which will never be beaten again if the movies are going to be going straight to streaming. And so yeah, they basically just done everything, and they're probably just pulling stuff right out of their butts, and
Yeah, because like
hoping.
look, once you've had Captain America, once you've had Spider-Man, once you've had Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, those are your core.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know anything about the Eternals, and
Yeah,
I never collected the Eternals comic
I don't.
books.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to set up. What's his name? Uh, he made an appearance. He what was it?
Galactica,
Galactus
whatever
something. Yeah,
yeah,
something
but
like that.
here's the deal. I don't even know any of that.
Yeah.
Like I didn't invest, and then what's the other one? Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm. That's
I
supposed to
have
be
no
like.
interest in that. I don't know what that I've never read the comic for that. I don't know
Yeah.
what that's about.
Mm-hmm. And like Chris
Like
Evans been there's like a rumor that Chris Evans will return for more movies. Um and he's been saying like I mean they haven't they've been saying I don't know, but I guarantee he's in like in that Obi-Wan state where he can't say anything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so um
Listen, the thing about Chris Evans which makes him unique is they've already said that uh Captain America, in order for him to give the shield over to Sam at the end of Endgame,
mhm,
he was not in the same timeline.
mhm.
He was in his own timeline.
Which they confirmed that he was in his own timeline a couple weeks ago.
Right. So technically, he could have had adventures for 60 years
Yep.
as Captain America. And what's interesting about that is um we know what he looks like at the end of Endgame. He's an old frail
He
man.
can come back as old Cap. I
Well,
mean,
he can play Cap until he gets to be a frail old man. So literally, he could play Captain America if the scripts are right for the next
I
40
mean,
years.
what else is he doing? He did Knives Out. I mean, he's doing he's on a
He did a
ant
really good
TV.
series
Yeah,
on Apple Plus.
yeah.
Oh
Hmm.
my God, it was so good. We had it when
was he
Apple
the main
Plus was free.
was he the like the main character?
Yeah, it was him and his wife,
Okay.
and their son had murdered somebody, and
Yeah.
it was how he got his son off for murder, and all this other kind of stuff. And what, dude, it was an amazing show, and I can't remember the name of it right now. But Disney, we had bought a new Apple Plus. We upgraded from Apple TV from Apple. We had version 1, and we went to Apple version 4, the box, the newest
Okay.
version. And then anytime you buy an Apple product, you get Apple Plus for free for a year. So we were able to watch that. And then we watched the Jennifer Aniston show, The Morning Show, which that was pretty good too, but not good enough for me to be like, I need to subscribe to Apple Plus. They got to come up with some pretty cool franchises or something.
Oh yeah. I mean,
But
they
yeah,
don't
but that's the
have
thing.
to.
Like Chris Evans he could come back, dude. He totally
Yeah.
come back as Captain
Hmm.
America for the next 40 years. Cause look, they're doing Indiana Jones 5. Harrison Ford's 80.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be his last film, I think, ever.
Yeah, so why can't if he can come back at 80 years old and play Indiana Jones, back here, if he can come back and play him, why can't Chris Evans, now that we've established in Endgame that he's a frail old man Cap,
Yeah. I mean, I don't
and he
know.
has his own timeline?
He could have a appearance in Falcon the Winter Soldier as well as Old Cap. So,
He could also be in the multiverse of madness.
uh,
Doctor
and
Strange, we don't know.
we don't. He could be in
We don't know.
He could be in Black Widow
Well,
because
somebody was saying something. There was a Russian version of Captain America in the comic books, not the one that's being played by David Harbour
mhm,
um, from Stranger Things, but another version of Captain America.
I'm trying to think of
Another
it. I think there is like there's like they like there's so many different comic books. Like Spider-Man has different, like there's like British Man, Spider-Man, something like
Right,
that.
right,
And
right.
so there's probably is somewhere.
Yep.
Um,
What
uh,
what do we got? What are we talking about next?
let's get the Netflix stuff out of the way. Netflix one out of the way because we're on that
Oh
streaming
yeah,
service.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Netflix new test might call you out if you're sharing passwords, which I don't know how they're doing that. I mean, if you're sharing, because that's how the profile stuff all works. Like you make your own profile, and you
yeah.
can share accounts. So I don't know
Well,
why they're
I
doing
think
that because they're still
because of
making
Disney
money.
Plus. No, it's because of Look,
You can still
they
do that on Disney Plus. I mean,
no,
like,
but what I'm saying is, that they are realizing that if I share my Netflix account with two other people, then that's like right now I'm paying $14 a month for Netflix. If I share it with two other people, that's two other people not paying $14 a month.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, so you start multiplying that times the millions of subscribers they have. They're missing out on like 200 million subscribers if every person shared their account with two people. So, and what they're doing is they're figuring out, like, when I stream from my house, I have an IP address for my internet in my hometown that I'm working on mine. Well, if I share my Netflix account with my relative in Michigan and they're using that password, and their IP address is going down to them in Michigan, some other IP address, whatever their internet provider is,
Hmm.
then they can see there's two accounts and people are sharing it, and they can shut down your main account, or uh, they might figure out how to ping the other one and say, well, you're not the one that has the credit card that we draw off of, so, or the bank account. So
Hmm.
whoever's in Michigan, you're getting stopped. I get why they're doing it.
Hmm.
It makes total sense. Because, like, honestly, like, I'm not getting HBO Plus. I don't have, but I can't wait to see the Snyderverse. And I'm begging somebody. I could do the 30-day, thing where
Yeah.
it's 30 days free. But the bottom line is it's like, I don't really want, I've got too many streaming services as it is now.
Hmm.
So I'm looking for somebody to give me the codes
You
so I
gotta
could just
do the
log
legal
in.
stuff. You gotta find it on the internet somewhere, the
Yeah,
dark
but
web.
no, I'm not doing the BitTorrent stuff because I work in the film industry, dude.
Yeah.
BitTorrent stuff is evil. It's
No, yeah.
absolute, like, people who do that, it's very frustrating because, like, I produced a movie. I just
Hmm.
give you this as an example. I produced an independent film. I got it into Walmart all across the country, 40,000 copies in Walmart all across the country, and all 1,200 Walmarts was my little independent horror film. This was back in 2010. It was
Okay.
released in 24 hours. My movie had been BitTorrented. Somebody bought it at Walmart, ripped the DVD, and uploaded it to some BitTorrent site. It had been, from one BitTorrent site, it had been viewed 9,000 times or downloaded 9,000 times. That was 9,000 sales that I didn't get from just one BitTorrent site. It had been BitTorrented all across the internet. And that hurt me as a movie producer
Yeah.
because I'm not Warner Brothers that has billions of dollars,
And
hundreds of
sue
millions of
them. Yeah.
dollars.
Hmm.
I couldn't sue them. I couldn't do anything. And it hurts the independent people. So, like, that was a lesson right there that I learned. I will never BitTorrent anything or steal anything because it really does hurt the creators of the content. Even if it's a huge conglomerate, it's
Yeah.
still hurting the creators. And that's why I don't do it. And even when Napster came out, you weren't even born probably when Napster was out, when they
Well,
were doing file sharing with music.
oh.
Um, that was a big thing back in the late or early 90s, late 80s, something like that, where Metallica, like, went nuts because it was before iTunes. It was, people were using this platform called Napster to share music. I never ever downloaded anything off Napster illegal. I just never did. It's not in me to do that.
Yeah.
And I always paid for my content. So anyway, I went off on a tangent, but it goes back to this Netflix thing. Is It's like, you know, Netflix is, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, just like Netflix, just like Disney Plus, having content like Ozark and all their television shows. And this year they have 126 new movies. They have like 1 or 2 movies coming out every week
Yep.
on Netflix, fresh new films. That is a huge amount of money to invest. And if you've got 200 million people borrowing somebody's account, then you're losing money that you could be using to make no content.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I understand where
Maybe
Netflix is coming
raise
from.
the price, but then you lose even more people.
But then you lose people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to figure out how to get. It's like, guys, everybody can spend $13.99 if you really want Netflix.
If you really want to, yeah.
If you really want to support the people that are creating the content.
I will never. I'm not gonna ever buy HBO Max because HBO Max has nothing. Even though they're doing like the movie release thing,
Yeah.
I'll just go see it in theaters. I mean, I have movie theaters open, and I enjoy movie theaters more than streaming. So I'd rather just go see it in theaters than
Yeah,
anything
dude, I'm
else.
so glad. I can't wait. I've got me and some friends, because a lot of our movie theaters are still shut down here for COVID, in North Carolina, and we're gonna rent out an AMC theater for $150 and watch Godzilla, and we're allowed to bring 20 people as the max capacity.
Okay.
So we're gonna get a bunch, 20 people to cough up $10, and then we can rent the theater for a private screening. I had my first COVID shot, so I'm excited about that. But my next one is until like April 8th. So not in time to see Godzilla. So we're gonna have to rent a private screening of it. And I'm like you, dude. I like watching stuff on the big screen. I mean, a movie should be an event, especially like a big
Yeah.
special effects, but like Godzilla, King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus King Kong, dude. Yeah, it has to be seen on a big screen. It just has to. You can't
Yeah.
watch that on HBO Max on a 65-inch screen on
It's
your
probably
wall.
it's probably gonna reduce like the CGI effects and all that type of stuff as well.
Yeah,
Because you're streaming it from some satellite in space, so it's gonna look even
yeah.
worse.
Where the movie theaters actually download, they get hard drives either sent to them, or they download the files
Yeah,
to be projected.
how does that stuff work? Like, how do they movie go? How do the people in the business give movie theaters their the copy and all that?
Well, you have a booking agent. And so all of these, so when Warner Brothers comes out with Godzilla or whoever, they have a booking agent that reaches out. All the theater chains have booking agents that reach out, and they talk and they communicate, and they say, okay, well, I've got 1,000 theaters. We'll take 500 screens of your movie, and then they digitally download it, or they get sent a hard drive. But I think it's mostly digital download.
Okay.
Which that you got, dude, they got to thank George Lucas for that. That was all Lucas's idea. He was trying, back when he did Attack of the Clones, they shot one scene on the Phantom Menace with a fully digital camera, and that was the scene where Qui-Gon took the blood out of Anakin's hand and sent it up for the midichlorians. And
Yeah.
if you watch that movie, the rest of it was shot in 35 millimeter, and that's the one scene that looks a little off in the film.
Yeah.
Because it was shot with a digital camera. Because he pushed the industry just like he pushed special effects and everything in the 70s. Is he wanted digital cinema. Because what he didn't like was when you would run a 35 millimeter print over and over and over in a theater, it degrades over time.
Yeah.
And you'll get the lines or cuts in it, or like when I used to manage movie theaters, you'd have to, if it ripped, you had to splice it, and you'd get jump cuts. And what he wanted was, when you experience a movie, George Lucas, he wanted you to watch it exactly perfect every time. And he really pushed for the whole digital download. That was all Lucasfilm, man. That was all THX. That was all, everything he was doing, Skywalker Sound, all of it was pushing the digital cinema so that people would download the movies from a satellite or have a hard drive sent to them. And it took about 10 years for almost all of the theater chains to upgrade their systems from 35 millimeter platter systems to the digital cinemas that we have today. And that's all George Lucas. I mean, everyone owes George Lucas a big thank you every time they go to see a movie in digital cinema. It's all him, dude. He was all over it.
I mean, he basically was the setup to the next technology for cinema. So
Yeah.
because Star Wars was the first CGI film, because It wasn't, well, not CGI, like big special effect film of all
Yeah,
time. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, okay, so John Wick director to helm Die Hard meets Indiana Jones thriller. So, I don't know that much about this one. I only got to read a little bit of the article. So, is that basically saying, um, um, Bruce Willis and Harrison Ford did the same movie?
No, I think what they're saying is like when you go in and you pitch a movie and you want to get someone who knows nothing about your movie to like it, you say, well, think of Die Hard and if Die Hard met Indiana Jones.
Oh, so like a what
So
if?
so so basically, no, not what if. It would be like basically an archaeologist or somebody, some sort of relic hunter is stuck in a building trying to, he can't get out and he's trying to solve
Oh,
the whole caper. So that's what
okay.
they, anytime they say that, it's like, it would be like Indiana Jones meets Die Hard.
Okay. Okay. That would be actually kind
So,
of funny to see. And it'd be much better than Skyscraper. So,
well, I think what people are also, what's the movie that Tom Holland's doing, the based on the video game,
Uncharted.
Uncharted. Okay, so I think what we're seeing now is like everyone's like, oh, we got to start having our own Uncharted. So,
Yeah.
and Indiana Jones 5's coming out. So, and Harrison Ford can't do that forever. So, is Tom Holland going to be the new franchise of
He's
relic
basically,
hunting? Is
yeah.
he basically the new guy? So I think the John Wick guy's like, well, I can have my own Indiana Jones guy, but I have to do a twist on it. So let's have him stuck in one temple or one location, and
That would be
he's got
sick.
nothing but
Yeah.
booby traps on to get out.
Yeah, that would
And
be
that
cool.
that sounds like what they're doing.
Okay.
And I would check that out. I'm looking
I
forward to,
never heard or anything like that before. I mean, there's probably
yeah,
movies out there that done it,
no,
but
it sounds like a new concept.
yeah, it's
I mean, technically it's like Tomb Raider, but you would literally be in one spot the whole time,
mm-hmm. So hopefully there's no like evil doom that dude that just traps him in there, it's like where's the money type of deal. Um
Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be like that. It would be more like guy trapped in a building or in some sort of temple.
yeah.
And he has to, it would be like a video game, a first person game. You have to figure out how to get to the different levels to get over here. And there's booby traps. And yeah, that's what I think it would.
I mean, well, with you bringing up Tom Holland, do you think, because Tom Holland is in everything now, he has a Cherry movie, movie called Cherry on
Yeah,
Apple.
I didn't see that. I don't have,
I
the
haven't
Apple
seen it.
anymore.
Yeah. He had a new he had he was in Devils of All Time. He had a new movie that came out in theaters called Chaos Walking. Um,
Wasn't that with, what's her
uh,
name from Star Wars?
um, Daisy Ripley. I had to,
Daisy Ridley.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so he's basically in everything. And there's some people I have been talking to where it's like I'm kind of getting sick of seeing Tom Holland everywhere. I'm kind of
Right.
falling in that aspect, but I just really like him as an actor. So I
I
don't,
like him too. I think every actor out there, and as an actor myself, what happens is like when you get hot, you basically do
yeah.
everything you can because you don't know when you're going to work again.
Hmm.
Your star could fade. I mean, that's one of the reasons why Samuel Jackson, he said in countless interviews that he does everything that comes at him, no matter
If it's
what it
good or
is.
bad, yeah.
He'll go from something really good to something really bad because he knows he needs. Now he's slowed down now because he's a little bit older, but
Yeah.
for a while there, he'd crank out 10 films in a year. Like he didn't give a shit. He was going to knock it out.
Yeah.
And because you don't know if you're ever going to be asked to, if you suck, like, or if you just, your star starts to fade. And that happens to so many actors, that I think like right now, Tom Holland's doing everything he can, because
And he's
maybe
also young, so he can do a lot.
he can do a lot. And maybe in
So
the future, he may look, because like Chris Evans is a director. He directed a film not too long ago. I saw about
I'm trying to think of it too.
that was the one where it was an addict. It was a heroin addict or
I think
something. And he
yeah.
starred in it and he directed it. And he wants to direct. And
Hmm.
he's even said that he's been on the record. He wants to direct.
Yeah.
And Tom Holland has said he wants to produce and direct as well.
Hmm.
And I think what happens is you do everything you can while you're young and you're good to go. And then you might do like Clint Eastwood and start knocking out movies and directing them which is what Clint Eastwood's been doing for years. I mean, he'll still every once in a while star in something,
Yeah.
but for every one movie he shows up in, he'll do 10 where he directs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing with Tom Holland. He's just trying to get all the work he can while he can, and then see what happens next. What's the next phase of his career?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting burned out on him. I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. And did you see the movie when he was a child actor with Ewan McGregor with the tsunami?
I've heard of it, but I never saw it.
Dude. Oh my God. You got to see it. Hold on. What's the name of that movie? What's the name of that movie? Ewan McGregor, Tom Holland. The Impossible. It came out in 2012. It's called The Impossible. And it's, it has an 81% Rotten Tomato score, 93% Google users. It was amazing. I saw it in the theater and it was wild. And it's based on a true story where an earthquake happened and then a tsunami came in and these people were on vacation and they got separated and you thought that they all drowned and died. And this movie, the special effects, everything they did in this film, outstanding. And Ewan McGregor is just, he's on point on this film. Naomi Watts plays his wife. But Tom Holland killed it. And he was a little kid. I knew when I saw that movie in 2012, I said, this guy's going to be a star. Did I think he would be Spider-Man and he would be everything that he is today? No, but he deserves all the credit he's ever gotten because this kid started off right out of the gate doing amazing work.
Yeah.
So The Impossible. It says watch now on Netflix.
Okay. So, I'll definitely check that out.
The Impossible.
I'll write that down.
You definitely need to watch that film based on a true story. It's good stuff.
And The Impossible, not Mission Impossible, The Impossible.
No, The Impossible, because they actually did the impossible in that film. That's why it's called that. Amazing movie. Amazing film.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, this is where we start running into our gaming topics. This is where I'm probably gonna, have a little bit more stuff.
Yeah, jump in there, man, because you're all over the game and stuff.
Yeah. So Resident Evil Village is coming out May 7th, so the same day as Black Widow. I'm gonna have a fun day.
Yeah.
So the one thing that that's been coming out for Resident Evil is that the one thing I really don't like about this right now is that the violence and gore will be censored for some players. So like the number one place right now is that's like being known for is Japan. So that's gonna why does the government have to get involved with our like this? Like, because
so Japan is gonna censor?
It's gonna censor the gore and violence.
The gore and violence. Well, look, I think we're at a point in history where, they've never been able. The only thing I will say about that is, as we get older, they've always tried to make a correlation between mass shootings and video games and violence and people having violent tendencies, but they've never been able to make that stick.
Yeah.
They just never have. But in Japan, for example, they have the highest suicide rate on the planet.
Yeah.
For young teenagers.
They even named it after they named a forest called Suicide.
Yeah. And so, I saw a meme the other day on Facebook, and it was a picture of Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. And Elmer Fudd had his double barrel shotgun right in Bugs Bunny's face.
Okay.
And it was split, and underneath it was a screen grab from a first person shooter with somebody completely, I don't know if it was I don't know which one it was, but it was somebody in a bathtub completely shot to death and blood everywhere.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And the meme says, we're trying to ban this Bugs Bunny while your kids are watching this. And it made a lot of sense because for me, it made a lot of sense. I've got a 16-month-old daughter, and at some point she's going to play video games and stuff.
Yeah.
But you want to think, do we want all kids to have access to that kind of thing? I mean,
Well,
if we have
that's
if we
what the
have
rating. That's what the rating is for. Because like
yeah,
games like this are rated M, and
yeah,
so
for mature, but parents don't pay attention to that. The kids say they want this zombie game, they get it for them, and then they don't realize it.
but the game, but the person that that's like for example, GameStop, which won't be here for that long, but they usually say like this isn't the type of game for this young age, and so
Yeah,
it's like, are you sure about this? And so, but the number one thing I hate about this type of stuff is that I don't know if you heard about this, but Chicago's trying to ban GTA 5 because of carjacking. It's like, seriously, how about you, instead of blaming video games and movies for like violence, actually do your job. Because like that's just showing laziness. And so,
yeah. I mean, carjackings. I mean, they happen a lot more in the bigger cities.
yeah,
And it could persuade impressionable kids in those particular situations.
it could, but at the same time,
But at the
same,
same time,
yeah,
it's like, I don't know.
it's happened for
I
years.
have to admit though, when I played uh um the fact that you know you could go off to the side with a hooker,
Yeah.
and I mean, come on, man, like, did that really need to be in a video game?
I
I
mean, that's
mean,
what made the game money. I well, no, I wouldn't say that made the game money. It's just like it, it's
yeah, but that
it's
but
they're aiming at an older audience and they're not meant for young audience, and so
okay, but most kids play Grand Theft Auto.
oh yep, yep, and most kids play Call of Duty, but no one cares anymore, and so that's why the government's like, we're trying to ban games. It's like, what about
Well,
you just let
I don't think they're trying to ban games, but it's kind of like, if the parents aren't policing their kids, there needs to be an on-off switch so that some people aren't exposed to it. I mean,
well,
that's
I
just
mean, this like years before even video games came out, there's been carjacking, there's been violence, and
absolutely,
so even before movies, I just
absolutely.
hate the statement of movies and games are the reasoning that our world is going down. No, no, it's because you're not doing your job. That's why the world is going down, because you're not actually taking it seriously, and you're just pointing at something over here to get it off of you. And so you can, go off on the side. It's like, should we, do anything? It's like, no, no, it's fine. You blame GTA 5, so we're all good now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that some of those problems that are out there, all are systemic. Can all be traced back to poverty.
Hmm.
You grow up in poverty, or in a neighborhood where people get killed or carjacked, you're just basically going to mimic that behavior, and go down the same road unless you figure out a way to get out of it. And I think, like, law enforcement is even I mean, I think, and people got to realize, like, I don't have the total statistics in front of me when it comes to law enforcement, but it's like there's like one cop for every 100,000 people, or
Yeah.
like in the bigger cities, like when you go to Los Angeles and you've got 5 million people living in one area, you only have like one cop for every 100,000 people. They're
Yeah.
outnumbered. So they're trying to figure out
It's the
what's
system is so
causing.
the system
Yeah.
is just broken. It's really
Well, and I
it's
think it all goes back to poverty. You could
yeah.
trace everything back to, if you're born into poverty, it's really hard to get out of. And if you're born into a crappy neighborhood, it's hard to get out of that system. It's a systemic system. And I think when they want to blame video games or violent movies, it's a scapegoat, because
Yeah.
there's
It's
no real
easy.
way.
It's really
It's
easy to
a,
blame.
it's easy, but there's no way to fix the abject poverty and systemic problems in some of these areas in the country.
Hmm.
And it's every city has their street or their block where it's rough.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to be able to fix it. And so, yeah, I think you're right, they're looking for a scapegoat, but at the same time, it's like they have to figure out how to fix it. But I don't think there is a way to fix poverty.
Well, no,
I mean,
there's not a way to fix like violence. There's always going to be violence. That's why we're never going to have world peace, because no one's going to
yeah,
be happy.
that's something to strive for, but that's not,
Yeah. And so it's just but I just like
I think you're right. You're absolutely right.
instead of being lazy and blaming something, that's why half the stuff is happening is because you are being lazy and you blame someone else for the mistake that isn't their mistake. So then they go off and they get themselves into a hole because of you. So I mean,
Sounds good to me.
um, last Resident Evil top is that Resident Evil Capcom warns fans about early access scam emails. So yeah, I guess be warned about that because that I don't again like are you if you're just a random person and you get an email of an early access game for a game, should you really even open it? It's like that's kind of a little suspicious. I don't even really look at my Gmail unless it's someone I really know.
Yeah,
And
I think that like maybe that warning is for parents who
yeah,
don't
don't
understand how to bundle and download packages and all that other kind of stuff when it comes to the video games.
yeah.
I think that might be a warning for them,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if they're getting that warning or not, because it's
No.
really easy to click on something and then think, oh my God, I need to log in. And then once you
Yeah.
give your login codes, you're screwed, like they
Oh
can
yeah.
jack up your whole account. And so I think maybe, I think it's good that they are telling people and warning people,
Mm-hmm.
because I think anytime there's an email scam like that, everybody should know what that email scam is, because
Yeah.
you're always going to have people that fall prey to that.
Yeah, like with the PlayStation 5 and all that, like there's like so many ads on Instagram. It's like you can win a free PlayStation 5. Like really?
Oh yeah, dude, no
Why?
way. Yeah,
No.
don't click on any
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
No. Like
Don't register, don't give them any codes,
yeah,
nothing.
if it asks you for like your email address, your your street address is like no, don't do any
And,
of that.
and look, a lot of people forget that, like, you know, data
Just
sharing is very important, right?
mhm.
And it's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. So, if you put your email address in somewhere to win something, and 100 million people put in an email list to win something, then that company, even if they don't ever award anybody anything, that company takes that 100 million email list and they can sell that to
Yep.
Apple, or they sell it to Microsoft, or they
Was
sell it to,
wasn't there like a big news somewhere like a bunch of emails got leaked to the public or something like that? I can't remember what it was
well, yeah,
about.
I mean, there's always going to be those things, but selling information to huge corporations that can market stuff to you is a
Hmm.
huge business. If you are an agent and you have 100 million plus email list, some corporation will buy it from you for $1 million or $2 million. And everyone who puts emails into things on the internet to register, you're basically giving away your email for somebody to sell it and make money off it. So don't do it, because
Yeah.
that's basically what it comes down to.
Even just clicking on the Gmail, not even like logging in or anything, just clicking on it can give them access to some stuff if they're
Oh
really
yeah.
good
Oh
at
yeah. Their
technology.
cookies, they can go through all your shit, your history. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, you're so right.
And so, okay, so the big topic that I mean, I touched on this in the last episode, but I feel like we are bigger fans of this because I'm really excited for this. So I think we can have a little bit more of a discussion. Aliens Fireteam is a game that will be coming out this summer. And I'm really excited because I've been asked because I'm playing through Alien Isolation. I don't know if you heard about that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
No, I've seen a lot of the gameplay on that too. Yeah. I
and
haven't
I'm
played it, but I've seen it.
okay. Yeah, it's a really good game. Definitely, if you get a console, definitely check that one out. But I played survival and I was like game sharing with well not game sharing, I was share playing with a friend. And I was like, how cool would this be if this was co-op? Like me and you in the same ship, standing together, hiding from this alien. I was like, this would be awesome to play. And next, what happens? We get a game, basically a Left 4 Dead, type of survival type of game, and
Yeah.
like there's so much there stuff that we are being told that they can do, and I sent you to a 25-minute
Dude, I watched
exclusive.
it. The IGN
Yeah,
exclusive access video, the showing everybody. Dude, that was so good.
like
Yeah,
you have
that's
the aliens
insane.
crawling on the walls, ceilings, and everything. It's insane. And so it's just whole like the one. and like there's supposed to like be a campaign like that with missions and all that. And so, and the one thing that really needs to work is the AI for the aliens. And there's supposed to be multiple aliens. Like it depends on like the mission, it depends on the like the location. Like the aliens will change and just depending on the environment. So that's really cool. And
That's
like
cool. Yeah.
and so and it expands a little bit more of like the alien lore and all that. I don't know if it's canon, but if it does really good, it might become canon.
Dude, anytime you have like colonial marines in a video game just waxing aliens and having to go through maps and dude, that's just it's great. And some of the gameplay that I watched, they're getting so screen accurate with everything. I mean,
Oh
you
yeah.
feel like you're in a Weyland-Yutani, spaceship.
Hmm.
The way they've got everything and the lighting is so good. And
Oh yeah.
uh, you know, dude, it's like watching movies because the last couple of Alien films have been really crappy as far as I'm concerned.
I actually really like Prometheus, and
Really?
I do enjoy Covenant. I have Covenant.
Oh, I
Promethe-
mean,
Prometheus is a different. I can see why people don't like Prometheus, but it's something new and it tries to take it into a different direction and it kind of explores the lore of stuff. So I really do like
I
that
I get it,
aspect.
but you know what? I didn't need any of that. Like,
I know.
all
Like the
right, like
mystery of the
I
aliens is cool,
look
and
like the mystery of like the when in the first Alien in 1979 or whatever when they get on that ship and there's the giant alien with his chest opened up, you know,
hmm.
and then there's all the eggs. Like, I don't need to know where that guy came from. I
No,
just want to know what the hell came out of his chest.
yeah. I mean,
And
I don't. The one thing I don't
the
like is
space
that.
jockey.
Yeah, the one thing I don't like is that a android made the alien. That's the only thing I don't like. I find that
Yeah,
very
I mean,
stupid.
yeah,
And like they only being
life creates life.
basically only alive for 30 years. So it's like how did that ship get there and all that, which is supposed to be, I guess, explained in the next movie, which I believe they're filming right now.
I don't know. Ridley Scott's always trying to keep doing these things. I don't, I want,
I don't think Disney's going to let it happen.
I want more of what James Cameron did with Aliens,
Yeah.
which is what this video game is. I want this. I don't
Yes.
want to know about the space jockeys, where they came from, where their ship was created. I don't need to see any of that.
Hmm.
I just want people kicking butt and shooting aliens.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like it's supposed to be really detailed. You can like there's like when you die, you actually get like a like the mouth in your chest and all that. And we would be really cool if you're getting chased by a face hugger and you get your face like you get your face hugged, and if you get it off. What if like later on in the game you're just your chest just bursts? That would be really cool if they can make that work. Like
oh, dude,
like if
dude,
they
if but or what if like your buddy who you're playing with starts hemorrhaging
yeah.
and it comes out of him and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? And then you wind up killing your guy
Yeah,
because
that
he's
would be
got a
really
chest
cool.
burster coming out. Dude, that's gonna
I don't know how they
they'll
would
figure it out.
yeah, they don't they would have to figure out some code. And like maybe they added where like because they maybe could add like, oh, you need to get to this certain area. We have this injection or whatever to get it out of you. Add something that add tension. Like, okay, we can save you, but we don't know
But
if
you
we can
got to
get
get
there.
to this level, to this lab that's on
Yeah,
this level in this shit. And that the cool part about this type of game is you can cover new ground without completely reinventing the wheel.
yeah,
You know?
without changing like the movies or anything, and
Yeah.
like and maybe they can do a DLC where they add Ripley. Like you can put her skin on, like that would be cool, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with anything with the campaign or anything like that.
Or
That's like,
what if you could do Newt older?
oh yeah,
Like
and this is supposed to take
what is the
place.
year? Where does this take place?
I think it's supposed to take place right at like 20 here I because I remember reading the article and I believe it said like 20 to 40 not 20 to 24 years after the first film. Um,
Okay. So that wouldn't be
well, when does the second one take place? That takes
the second. I
place
think it was
takes
75 years
set.
after,
I think
something
so.
like that,
Yeah.
because her
Um,
daughter had died already,
hmm. I
had
mean, but
gotten to be an old lady.
again, it's a skin, so it doesn't. If it
True.
doesn't have anything to do with the campaign at all, You just like you put it in
But
for like
you could still
DLC.
play Ripley. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
so then that'll be fine.
Because then people could play Vasquez or they could play Hicks.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be.
dude, you'd want to have all the skins. You'd want to have everybody.
But make the game good first, then add the DLCs,
Then add the DLCs. Yeah.
because that's what the biggest problems with Predator Hunting Ground. I don't know if you heard about that game.
Of course, with Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, where it's
they
supposed to be like him hunting predators, and then like he has the his outfit has the uh predator stuff on it, like from all the predators he's killed. He's built his own armor, something like that.
something like that. Like, well, so what that game is basically like this, but where you can play as the predator and you hunt other players that are like soldiers, like they come into this village. And all right, so sorry if I cut out there. Recording stop. We've been recording longer. I think we've been
Yeah.
recording for like an hour and a half, and
Wow.
so
It's been a
um,
great conversation, dude. By the
oh,
way, I mean, it's been a while since we've talked, and I've done your show, and I always have a good time when we get
yeah,
together. Just so you know, it's like I always do. So
thank you, I appreciate it.
I got to
But
get you on my show. I
oh,
haven't done another like a person. It's been a long time. The
oh
last
yeah.
one I did was with a director of a movie, and I haven't had anyone on for a while, but
Hmm.
I need to do that.
Okay. I mean, I'll be happy to. Um, like I was saying before I cut out, I was like, what was I actually trying to say? Oh, okay, yeah.
It was
Like
like the
the
DSL, like the Predator. We're talking about the Predator because
hmm
I remember, when it first came out, Dutch, they were all these cassette tapes that you would have to play, like these 80s cassette tapes to
yeah,
give you the clues to figure out what the deal is with the Predators. But
yeah.
you were saying that what did they jump the gun on the skins and all that stuff? Like, what did they
They
do?
they jumped on the gun with the skins and with because like the game wasn't even done. Like so like the a like there's like villagers like like a like enemies in the game besides the predator, and the AI was so dumb that you just run past them and they don't worry about them, and you just like worry about the
Oh,
predator like the and so and the game would just get repetitive like after a while, really repetitive. And what makes Alien and what they say for Aliens Fireteam, it doesn't matter how many times you play it, it's gonna like it's gonna change because like there's different characters you can play, like it's role play, all that
yeah,
type of stuff.
that's really cool.
And
That's
so
cool. And that's the technology the AI technology that they keep progressing, and and it's good to give everybody a different experience because it's funny when watch some videos. You haven't been to Disney yet. Have you been on the Millennium Falcon ride?
no, I've been there before they even put that on.
Well, just to give you an idea, like when you get on the Millennium Falcon ride, if you don't touch anything, if everyone just sits in their seat and they don't touch anything, it goes through the whole ride, whether you hit buttons and shoot stuff. That's like the bonus. It already knows where it's going and how it's flying and how it's doing everything. So you literally can not put any hands on the controls. So the point is it's not different, right? Where something like this, the Alien Firestorm, that like they're making the efforts to get to the point where like, you know, you could play a video game and then okay, this is going to be there. I'm going to turn the corner, this will be there. And after you play it so many times, you're like, I've already done this. I know exactly how to go through, and you get through faster. But if the AI is like changing the script all the time and you don't know what experience you're getting into, that just makes it like, because you can't say, oh, like I'm going to go down this hallway and I know it's going to be right there. The alien's going to be right
Or
there.
I'll go down a
That's where it
different
always is.
hallway and go around it, and like because it
Yeah,
spawns
it's like,
there.
no, that's not going to happen. You
Yeah,
don't, yeah, that's
because I think
that's called really being stalked.
yeah, because I think
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to get to the like ending. So like there's like like you can go different down through these different corridors and all that type of stuff. That like so I'm really excited for it. But it's hopefully that the AI, because like because I think because it's if it's gonna have a campaign, then campaign needs to be good. Then but the most important thing, like the most important thing overall, is that AI has to be really good. And so
Well, Well, when was the date on it? I mean, are
It
they
says summer, like this
okay?
summer,
All right. Well,
so
that's
it
good.
doesn't
Well, they've
have.
probably been working on it for a long time, so
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
the AI will be really good. Yeah.
And so, um, because like because like Predator Hunting Grounds really got on my nerves. Like because I bought the older Arnold skin, and next like a week later they put out a young one. I was like, really? You're gonna make me pay another $7 for it when he should be already in the game?
Yeah,
No.
that's the thing about all the upgrades and stuff that they do now.
Yeah.
They have figured out how to kind of screw with people
Mhm.
and
Even your game's
and
not good, so I'm not gonna pay $7 just to get a
well,
skin that
that's
I'm
the
not gonna
thing.
play
It's
again.
like if you got 50 million people that just downloaded the whole video game and then 50 million people give you $7 more to do a skin, do the math on that. I
Well,
mean,
no,
they're made
no, it would
video
be a
games make
lot, but if the game is bad, no one's gonna buy it. No one's
no
gonna
one's going to
care.
buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You have to have the game up to snuff in order for people to start doing the add-ons. Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
totally agree.
this is why I tell every person I talk to when they like a game, like way in the future, like with Battlefront 2. Like, I mean, like I do like Battlefront 2 sort of now because of how what it went through, but literally but I still do not forgive EA what they did. Literally every time I tell someone, I was like, get it right the first time,
Yeah,
then we
yeah,
won't have any issues.
yeah.
Um,
EA did have a lot of problem with the bundling crap and trying to get
yeah.
people to upgrade and buy the skins. That's no way to do it, man.
hmm Um, so our next topic is Cobra Kai needs a Miyagi figures in season 4. Well, honestly, I think we already did that. They did that with was the guy's name that Daniel fought in the second one, in the second movie.
Oh, Chosen,
I don't know how to say that at all. But
Chosen.
he
He was
was
chosen, like he was the chosen one. It was Chosen was the
okay.
guy, was the villain, but he kind of like became the good guy and then helped him figure out how to do the thing where you stick them and they paralyze and all that stuff. Yeah,
hmm
dude, look, they're talking about doing what they're calling the Miyagi verse
Yeah.
and doing all new offshoots to keep this train going. Cause I don't know if they'll have another, like my friend's working on the new season right now. He works in
hmm
locations. Casey Kaiser is a good friend of mine and he's working in Atlanta. That's where they shoot the show. They do some second unit stuff to make it look like LA, but for the most part, it's all shot exclusively in Atlanta, Cobra Kai. And um, how much more they can do. They have to do offshoots of this, and they
Yeah.
may even have to go
There's,
into the past and do a prequel and have a young Miyagi training to be who becomes the Pat Morita that we know. But the
mhm.
problem is we already kind of know that story. We
Like
know the story that he trained and then he lost the honor for his and then left and went to the United States and where he hid away until his dad was sick dying and he came back to him in Karate Kid 2 and it's like we don't need like a Miyagi prequel.
mhm.
What do you think that they should do?
I think after the Cobra Kai stuff, they should just end it because I do like Cobra Kai. I don't like the second season because I feel like second season was very tropey, and even this previous season was sort of tropey. It wasn't really, but like you knew where it was going. It's like, oh, okay, they're gonna team up. Oh, okay, they're fighting again. Okay, cool. They're gonna.
That was my biggest complaint was like, because here's the thing: as soon as Danny and Johnny become friends, the
mm-hmm.
show's over.
Yep.
So they had to keep this thing where they acted like they were going to be friends, then they fought again, then they acted like they were going to be friends, then they hated each other again. And I was feeling the same way you were. I was like, okay, this is getting old. Like they really need to either figure out, are these guys going to be friends or are they going to be mortal enemies forever? And and now that again, it's like they keep bringing back all the bad guys from the past. Like,
Yep. Who's in Karate Kid 3, he was the villain in that one.
Yeah, that was the guy,
He's
with the
supposed to return the next season.
yeah, they're saying he's going to return. And
And the kid that fought Daniel, he's supposed to get his own TV show as well. And so,
is that, oh, Sean Keenan, that
yeah.
I got a friend of mine who just did a streaming series on Amazon with him and knows him personally. He executive produced the show, and Sean Keenan was one of the stars. Um, and he, uh, yeah, I mean, but once you start running out of those people, like
It's
where do you go?
the daughter. I mean, I guess I don't know.
And then
I don't really like the daughter because it's what the one thing I don't like about season two was her because she basically started the whole entire thing because she
well,
got
and
so
then like
jealous and
Hillary Swank, is she going to come back? Because wasn't she the new Karate Kid?
uh in the new one, like the fourth one.
No, there was one called The New Karate
Yeah,
Kid, and Hillary Swank was,
yeah.
she
She
trained with Miyagi.
There's a rumor that
And
she will return as well. Yep.
yeah, and then because the show is executive produced by Will Smith, because they own the rights to the
Don't
Karate
bring back the
Kid.
son. Don't
Do
bring
they
back.
do they
Don't.
bring back Will Smith's
No,
kid?
no, no. That's a different universe. We don't talk about that one.
I mean, I'm
I
just,
will find every copy and burn that.
but then
Um,
but there's, what I'm saying is, like, is that the possibilities? Because then you bring Jackie Chan into it? Does he become the Miyagi?
I guess, but he wasn't even a good version of Miyagi in the first place.
Look,
So
I would just say that they need to stop while they're
while
on a
they're
high
ahead,
note.
yeah,
While
stop
they're on a
because
high
they're supposed
note.
to get 5 seasons. Oh, like so season four is
Dude,
gonna,
I don't even think they thought that was going to go one season.
you know.
And when it became a hit,
Oh no, it
we're,
wasn't good on YouTube. But then when they brought it to Netflix, it was a big hit.
oh yeah, it was the most watched show on Netflix like
Mhm.
ever.
So YouTube kind of was like, man, but again, YouTube wanted more money, so they're like, hey, we got
You
originals, so give us money.
well, see here, but here's the deal. It was like, remember, YouTube is owned by Google.
It is, yeah,
And so once Google started getting into this gray area where they were producing content, then they have to abide by FCC rules. And that's why they spun off all their original content and sold it and shut down like YouTube Red and all that stuff. And because they don't want to have Google regulated, because once you open up that Pandora's box, then the government can regulate how Google operates as a search engine. So
yeah.
all that had to do, that's why they stopped making original content. They
Hmm.
started blurring the lines, and they were afraid that was going to come back to bite them.
It probably would have, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
The government would have been like, "Well, now you can't do this. Well, now you have to regulate YouTube because," and there's a lot of crazy stuff on YouTube.
YouTube's just getting worse already as it is, and
Yeah,
so
it's really
I mean,
negative.
I was almost like, by almost forced to follow the rules, but YouTube's like, okay, you can either have a kids channel or no kids channel, and so it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
I remember when you first, when we first talked about that, and I was like, "Nah, dude, you can't." When you first started, you tried to keep it, a certain way, and I remember telling you, "Dude, you
hmm,
can't, like, because then
yeah,
you're never going to be able to do
I can't rage
anything."
out
And
like in Terminator Dark Fate.
oh God,
Oh my
I
God.
know that was a crazy video I
And
did, wasn't
so,
it?
yeah, I mean, like, then I wouldn't be able to, because then what, because like, I wouldn't be able to like rage out and tell like the truth how I would be. And so,
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you when it comes to this kind of stuff, you just have to self-police yourself,
mhm,
like I get a lot of comments in the comment sections on my channel where people are like, "Hey man, I really appreciate the fact that you're not like screaming at your screen and going nuts, and
yeah,
you're very calm when you talk and explain things."
mm,
And because, and like I've always said, and like I think I told you when we first started talking, and is like, what you want is on a YouTube channel is to be as if you're in the same room and you're just you guys just we just walked out of a movie and we're talking about the movie, like,
yeah,
or we're talking about the video game we were just playing and how cool it was. But the minute you start blurring those lines and you become this, or people just do outrage stuff, like, I haven't done a lot of reaction videos lately, like reacting to stuff, because
hmm,
like some people's, it's like low hanging fruit, like it gets lots of clicks, but like what are you really doing?
That's the
Like,
same thing with rants. I mean, like, I like if with rants I would get a bunch of stuff like because I would rage out, but at the same time, like I mean, I enjoy raging, but at the same time, I don't want to rage
yeah, well,
because
even on my rant videos now, like I don't get
oh
crazy.
yeah,
It's like I'll complain,
if
but
it's
I'll
some
say
if
why I'm
it's
complaining.
yeah, but if it's something like on Terminator Dark Faith level, I will rage out. Sorry,
Oh, dude,
so
that's just, yeah.
um,
I did the end all be all Terminator Dark Fate video as far as I'm
I
concerned.
mean, like if you saw Captain, if you saw Coming to America 2,
I haven't seen it yet.
if this would have been a rage, there would have been a rage part in this episode. So,
Oh man, I'm still gonna watch it, man.
no,
But everyone I've talked to has said it's just not that good, or they should have made the movie 20 years ago, or it felt like a TV
well,
movie.
it's not that. It's not like after 20 to 30 years, this is what you came up with. So it's like that type of deal. And so,
And maybe you know it wasn't just the pandemic. They sold the movie outright to Amazon Prime, because
it was supposed to
maybe
come in theaters.
yeah, but maybe they thought it was going to tank when it was in theaters. Like, word of mouth would have been that it was bad, so they figured they could cut and run and get as much money as they could and sell the
Hmm.
product. I don't know. The thing is, I've got friends that worked on it, people
Hmm.
in the makeup department, that helped do a lot of the prosthetics and all
On
that kind of stuff.
the
Like,
like the visuals and the makeup was really good, but like
well,
the
it's
dancing, the music, the writing, the directing was even though like it's the same people that directed the first one, it's the same people that did the screenwriting, same writing. That's why I have a hard. That's why I really don't like it because like really. You guys are the original guys. You should know what you want to do, but instead you shit on your own characters, and
yeah,
yeah,
that's tough,
so
man. And but here it is. Eddie Murphy is, you
yeah,
know,
after like this dude hasn't acted in so long, this is what he comes back to. I feel bad for him.
well, he's done a lot of the animation, but he says he's going to focus on stand up after this Coming to America. He was just going to do stand up, and that's it. He
Hmm.
wants to do he's I think Netflix is paying him to do, and they paid him an enormous amount of money, so $45 million to do a stand up special, something outrageous, like, more than any modern day comedian has ever gotten, and it better be good because that's
Hmm.
a lot. That's a lot of money, but I'm sure we'll see. Coming
He's a
to
funny
America
guy.
might have been a cash grab,
Yeah.
but at least he brought all the original people back, except I
That's
think,
why it had so much potential because you brought back the original cast. You
was
even
Eric LaSalle in it, from ER, who he played the Jerry Curl guy in the first movie, the boyfriend of the girl.
no, no.
Yeah,
They
Eric
didn't they didn't even
LaSalle
bring
was in
back the
it, and
sister. They didn't even bring back the sisters. Like, why is the like? Because like even at the end of the first one, the sister and the boyfriend was kind of, pushed to the side and ignored. Like they never
yeah,
showed up, and that's like they were never mentioned at all in this film.
wow,
And
wow,
so it's like, what? Okay,
wow.
I feel bad for them because like I mean,
They couldn't even throw them a breadcrumb.
yeah, like
But you know
they
what?
would decide to bring back the guys from the barber shop. I don't know.
Yeah, but the guys from the barbershop were all
Well, they were
Eddie
good.
Murphy. It was
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall. It was all them playing the characters in makeup again.
Hmm. I mean, I don't know. It's like,
I mean, Eddie Murphy played the little Jewish guy sitting on the chair. He played the one cutting the hair. Arsenio Hall played the other guy. I mean, it was all them doing the
hmm,
multiple roles. So, I mean, they
yeah.
could come back and do that.
Well, yeah, they could. Yeah. I don't know. It had so much potential, and they even brought back Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah.
Yeah, James Earl Jones.
But it had to be in a
Um,
small role. Did he die in it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
So, and it's such a sad, and it's not like the like all sad. It's like a insulting sad type of way to go.
James Earl Jones, man, he doesn't need money. He did it because he did it.
He's still getting paid to play Darth Vader, so it's fine.
Dude, dude, his
How old
have
is
you ever
he?
seen have
Is
you
he
have
like
you ever
90?
He's got to be up there. He's got to be up there. How old is James Earl Jones?
God, jeez.
James Earl Jones is 90 years old.
Oh, I was right on the diet.
You're
Someone
right
give
on
me
the
a
dot.
million
Yeah, I
dollars.
mean he's not going to be around much longer, and they needed to do this movie if they were going to include him in any capacity. But have you ever seen The Great White Hope?
I think I might have.
It's a classic James Earl Jones film, dude. You should really see The Great White Hope if you can get a chance. It's a boxing movie. It'll blow your mind.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this City of Lies trailer that came out with
I
Johnny Depp.
Oh God, he's still
He,
making movies, huh?
I mean, I like Johnny Depp, but I know his past. I do know his past, and he's a
Hmm.
rough. He has a
I don't
rough.
I don't really care about his past. I'm just over him.
Yeah, it's the Pirates of the
I'm just
Caribbean's
over
ruined
him.
him. I think he's just stuck in that like spiral. What was it? Jack Sparrow. You know,
Jack Sparrow.
Jack
Yeah.
Sparrow type of thing.
I just think it's just he had a great run and it's time for him to just go away. But
Mm-hmm. But
hopefully he doesn't.
he's playing like a detective sort of. He's playing like a police officer. He's not, and
But for
so
what country? What country is he trying to be in this time?
I think it's Britland.
Yeah, it's
I
because
don't
he
know.
lives in. I think he lives in Paris or something like that, or that's where he's been living for most. So he's picked up the accent and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, dude. I'm just kind of done. I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of done because once he started doing all the Tim Burton stuff, he just started acting. Like
Weird.
every one of his
Yeah,
roles was weird. Like, I mean, he did the Edward Scissorhands. He did the Willy
but those are
Wonka was
good.
weird. He did.
I don't know about
Well,
Willy
Edward
Wonka.
Scissorhands was good. Willy Wonka was terrible.
That's a guilty pleasure movie.
I mean, I didn't need him in the Fantastic Beast movies. I didn't care for him in
Yeah,
that.
I feel bad for the
Um,
actor. I feel bad for the actor in the first one because like all they did was change his hair and made him look a little older. They could have literally done that to the actor.
they could have done that to the actor. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just, I don't know.
I think they
I
did
think
that to
his
get more
time has come
seats.
and gone.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Johnny Depp is a big name, so if you put him in a movie, people will go see it.
Well,
So,
but look, if you think about Johnny Depp's career and where it came from, I mean, he was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy
yep.
Krueger.
I found out about that when I was doing some research. I was like, "Oh, that's
Dude,
cool."
if you haven't seen that movie, you should watch that
I
movie.
know what happens to him, which sucks because I was like, I was hoping to watch it
It's
without knowing.
still one of the best Nightmare on Elm Streets ever made is the
Mhm.
first one, the first and second one. And I like Dream Warriors too. That was a good
Freddy
one as well.
versus Fred.
No, none of that stuff. You got to go back to the real movies. I got a friend of mine who worked on Freddy's Revenge, the second one. He was in special effects and he worked on that. That was his big break when he went to Hollywood. Was working on a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Um, I got to get him on my show
Do
too.
you have any
Like
more information for Scream 5? Because it's supposed to be filmed in your area.
I've got a friend that's gonna come on my show who worked on Scream 5, but he signed NDAs. So they've already finished filming, it's already wrapped, but he signed NDAs, but he worked in special effects, blood and guts and all that other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because obviously these movies are gonna have blood and guts in it. But what's unique about him, Tony, I'm gonna get him on my show. He is the one who created and made the Annabelle doll for The Conjuring and all the other sequels.
I tried to watch The Conjuring. I couldn't get past like 10 minutes. I was like, I wasn't ready.
Yeah,
It's on
some people
Netflix.
some
I'll
people
watch. I'll give it a.
you either love James Wan or you don't when it comes to
Yeah.
those kind of things. But I'm trying to get him on my show to come on and just talk about the Annabelle doll and talk about the things. But he worked on Swamp Thing as well, the TV series.
Mhm.
And
Your wife also worked on that.
yeah, my wife worked on Swamp Thing. She's a producer's assistant. But yeah, I mean yeah, I don't have too much information on Scream 5 at all because I was working on another show altogether. But uh, you know, he can't say much anyway other than he worked on it.
Like, can you say anything about your show that you're working on? Like, is there anything?
I signed an NDA on the show that I just finished, but the thing is, it's a remake of a British show called This Country, and you could go on YouTube and type in This Country, and I think it ran for 3 seasons over in Europe. and this is the Americanized version of it. So I'm not giving anything away, because
Okay.
if you go and you watch This Country on YouTube clips, you'll see exactly kind of what we're making
You
here.
expect, yeah.
Except it's been recast with Americans. We got Sean William Scott is one of the actors on the show. Fantastic guy. And everybody, we all worked really, really hard on the show.
Was it
All
supposed to be
through.
on?
It's going to be on Fox on
Okay.
regular TV. We did 14 episodes, and I think it'll air this fall.
Okay.
It may come out in the summer, but I think it's going to air closer this fall because well, I can't say why, but it's all about the season finale, and I can't say why. But
Okay.
it would make sense that it airs in the fall, and I think that's what they're going to do, is they're going to air it in the fall. But I think it's going to be a really funny show. It's filmed a lot like the Office, where it's documentary style, where they turn and talk and do interviews to the camera, and and you'll, again, if you look up This Country on YouTube, you'll see the show.
Okay.
And so yeah, it was almost 6 grueling months, and with COVID, it was a hell of an experience, because we all had to wear masks. I was getting 3 COVID tests a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, swabbing the nose. They had health and safety people everywhere. There's hand sanitizer. I mean, they spent millions of dollars on, PPE and COVID testing for the 6 months we were on the show, to protect the whole, 200 crew members.
Okay.
And so that was Lionsgate TV produced that. So Lionsgate, thank you for keeping us all safe, if you watch this. But I didn't give anything away on the show, but thank you for keeping us safe on the show, because they took really good care of us.
All right. Well, that's not that's actually really good.
Yeah, so next time you see a Lionsgate movie, just remember they take care of their people.
Once again, thank you for Shaun for joining me this episode. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Definitely remember, go check out his content. He's going to be uploading a lot more now, with him being not out of work, but done shooting with the show that he was working on. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much and like always, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.